Ashley James is here in the studio. Nick is going to be joining us in his studio. He's going to take his seat. There's just one breaking news story that we're going to bring you, which has literally just broken, which is really sad news. Liverpool forward Diogo Jota has died in a car crash, aged just 28. He was with his brother, Andre Silva, in the accident. It's really shocking because he's only just recently got married. He's the father of 3 young children as well. Nick, I know you're there now. This is breaking news, so we don't know a great deal of detail, do we?
Here's what we do know. He was travelling with his brother, who's another football player. He's 28. His brother is 26. Sadly, they have both been killed. This has been confirmed. As you might have mentioned, sorry, Ben, I don't know if you did, this come 2 weeks after the Liverpool star was married, which is an absolute tragedy, of course. And I can tell you, because I've just spoken to with our reporter in Liverpool, fans are already gathering at Anfield and laying flowers. He was something of a cult hero. He scored a couple of crucial goals, one in a big 3-2 win that got them into the next stage of a cup. He's one of the ones who gets the regular chance. He joined from Wolverhampton Wanderers about 5 years ago. He's a Portuguese international, by the way, so the Portuguese International Federation have put out a statement as well, noticing and obviously saying sympathies to all his family. So he'd had a few injury problems of late, but he was a big Liverpool star, a big presence, a real fan favourite, and you'll see a lot of grief later today, Ben, up at Anfield, I'm sure. A lot of fans wanting to pay their respect. It's a truly shocking story at any time, but a 28-year-old man, just 2 weeks after he married his long-term girlfriend, an absolute tragedy. And
off the back of winning the Premier League with Liverpool and then Portugal beating Spain in the final of the Nations League, he'd had, as you say, a very big footballing season and then a really special summer marrying his wife.
Tremendous career with Liverpool. He lifted the League Cup, he lifted the FA Cup, he lifted the Premier League, he was with Portugal. A tremendously successful career. You're absolutely right, Ben, yeah.
Really, really sad. We will bring you more details on that as and when we get them. Let's move to the stories that was also sort of distressing in a different way. Keir Starmer having to defend the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. She was seen crying during yesterday's Prime Minister's questions. Actually, let's start with you, because we just heard from Nick. Watching this footage this morning is really disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like nobody wants to see anybody cry, and I really loathe the way it's been weaponised by other parties, because I would like to think, as humans, it doesn't matter what side of the bench you're sitting on. If you see someone cry, like, we don't know, they're saying it's personal reasons, whether it's personal reasons or whether it's professional reasons, nobody should have to feel upset, and it is really sad. I think the problem is that because it comes off the back of this U-turn on welfare, it does sort of like undermine confidence in Labour's financial management and perhaps shows tension in the party. But what I will say is I do feel there's a sort of gendered criticism of, saying she's not up for the job or she's hysterical, because just a couple of weeks ago we were watching Donald Trump and Elon Musk have a very public meltdown, and there were no calls for Donald Trump to step down, saying that he wasn't up for the job, and that was an emotional display as well. So I do think, I would personally like to see more politicians being upset, because don't forget, lives are impacted by every single decision that they make. All of these policies, especially when you're talking about welfare, they do really impact people's lives. So on one element, I think, OK, yeah, if you're a leader, of course you should be showing that you're in control. But I think there is this, toxic idea that it's weak if you show any form of emotion. But I think it actually cuts through this kind of cold, robotic politics that we accept as normal today.
We've had lots of comments, Nick, on this. This is from Jean. She said, it's never nice, as Ashley was saying, never nice to see anyone upset. I'm sure we've all at some point gone to work and been upset for what reason. We'd hope our colleagues would be kind, understanding, lend a hand. Those sat next to her just sat there and looked on. That's what struck me most. And there is a sense, as you can see, there were colleagues around her. Maybe they didn't want to draw attention to it, but it's almost nobody sort of put their arms out and sort of said, are you OK? It seemed that struck me as quite strange.
It's quite incredible. Your viewers need to remember it's today or tomorrow, tomorrow or the day after, that marks 12 months since the government came to power, and how that has changed. And we see a Chancellor very sadly in tears. And on a human level, you can only offer empathy and sympathy. I don't agree with Ashley. I don't think we want to see more days like this, because that wiped £3 billion off the stock market. We have to be aware of that, so I'm not comfortable with that. And also, it's not now that they're calling into question her suitability for the role. That started last week. Well, actually, it started months ago. ago when we discovered that there were glaring inaccuracies in her CV. So this isn't as a result of yesterday. But to your point, Ben, I do think the Prime Minister needs to reflect on what happened there, because it was left to her sister, who is another MP, by the way, to come down and comfort her. He hadn't offered fulsome support when challenged by Kemi Badenoch, not the Conservative leader, as to whether she, the Chancellor, would still be in power. He has subsequently said that they're in lockstep, so he has put that right. But what it needed is, as I would do with colleagues here at LBC, as even Ashley and I might do at times, we would walk away, we would put our arm around each other and offer support on a simple human level. I do think that should have come, most importantly, from the PM. He was the one that we needed to see some kind of human connection.
Still waiting for that moment, Nick.
I'm coming on a motorbike. I'm on a motorbike in 10 minutes. I'll do my best.
I'll wait for that warm embrace when you get here.
I think one of the difficulties as well, though, is that other views that we've had from our viewers is, Derek, I don't have any compassion for any politicians. Rachel Reeves obviously knew what they were proposing was completely immoral. This is with the welfare reforms. The decisions they have or were making to save money is hurtful for everybody. They have created tears in homes up and down the country.
I do know what, I totally agree with that, and I'm a Labour voter, and I do feel really frustrated, and I think, you know, we saw it in the last government as well. When you're giving U-turns, you're kind of showing that you don't stand for anything, and I think, you know, Labour are meant to be the party that cares for like the working class, that cares for people who need support, and it is disappointing, but I personally welcome the U-turn. But yeah, I think there's one element where you're like, I personally think that politicians should have to almost do internships in every different walk of life before they're allowed to be MP, so that they really understand the impact that these decisions have.
Nick, can I just ask, I think if you just interviewed Nigel Farage...
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you ask Nigel Farage about this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I did. Just to your point, by the way, the first 6 callers that I took on LBC today, I specifically asked the production team, can we make sure they're all women? Because I think it's important. And all 6 of them showed no sympathy whatsoever, from a small businesswoman in Surrey to a pensioner in Essex. They showed no... And I'm not saying that's my position, but they showed no sympathy, which is to your point. As for Nigel Farage, look, again, he said pretty much what I do. On a human level, of course, nobody wants to see another adult crying like that. But he did say, and he said this directly, she needs to reflect on her position over the weekend. He, Nigel Farage, doesn't think she's up to it. She needs to go for the sake of the country. She should not be the woman to deliver the next autumn budget, is what Nigel Farage is saying.
Wow. OK, thanks, Nick.
We can come back to that later, actually, because we want to move on, because back in June, Bridgerton star Genevieve Chennerour joined us on the sofa after police released this shocking CCTV footage which captured the moment that she had her phone stolen before she bravely fought back against the thief.
Her quick actions led to the arrest and conviction of Zacariah Boulares. On Tuesday, Boulares was jailed for 22 months for multiple thefts and an assault.
Well, Genevieve has joined us in the studio again to share her reaction. Genevieve, thank you for dropping back in. I wonder what your reaction is to the sentencing of this young man.
I mean, it's my first experience of a sentencing, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I think 22 months is quite a short amount of time, given he's a serial offender, and that he's likely only going to be spending half of that, actually, in where he's going to be, staying.
Does it worry you that the sentence is so short and he knows that, you know, you were his victim and you've spoken out against him?
Yeah, that's definitely an anxiety I have, and something that I didn't think about. He's meant to be going... Well, they're considering a behavioural agreement in some way, which means that he maybe won't be able to access certain parts of London and will be monitored, and it could potentially be lifetime. So that would protect me and anybody else that he's, harassed.
Genevieve, can we ask what the lasting impact of this has been on you?
A lot of anxiety. I left London because I'm single, and the level of anxiety I have going to public spaces was just not really sustainable. So, yeah, decided to take some time out of the city and then just come back and forwards for work,
You did something extraordinarily brave. Your reaction was to fight back and not let this person take your phone from you. I wonder, in hindsight, whether you, with the trauma that you're dealing with, whether actually you've thought, why didn't I just let him take the phone and not worry about it?
I didn't choose to respond like that. So obviously there's fight, flight, fawn, and
instinct.
And so I blacked out, and I don't actually remember my reaction. So when I watched it back, I was like, I did that. What? So it was just an instinct to me. So I just don't think I could have reacted any differently. And I'm impressed with myself that I did react like that. But yeah, it definitely means that I have the additional trauma of actually getting into a physical fight with someone that has been seen walking around with a machete.
Yeah.
So it's terrifying for me. Yeah, maybe I should have given him my phone, but that was just my reaction.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? I mean, Ashley, it's the sort of thing that if you're a single woman or you're a woman on your own in a space like this, that you'd feel vulnerable for.
You know what? Interestingly, a few years ago in 2018, a similar thing happened to me, that I was on my own. I was living in northwest London at the time, and somebody took my phone from me, and they were on a moped, and my automatic response was to try and get my phone back, which I did.
Were you on the street,
So I was just walking down the road.
Okay.
It's actually, I just put this stupid phone case on my phone, and I had to hairdry it to stick it down, and it took me an hour. And then I was on my way to a boxing class, so I was about to get on the tube, and someone came and took up my phone, and my first thought was like, I have not just spent an hour paying that phone. And so I just reacted. So I raced after him, screaming at the top of my voice, and I managed to grab the back of him on the moped, and he threw it down on the floor. But afterwards, people did come up to me who witnessed it, and they said, I can't believe that you did that, because he could have had acid, he could have had a weapon. And so it was only after that I sort of thought about the impact of my reaction. But like you said, it's just something that I did as a kind of fight or flight defence mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, the sentencing of this guy, we know that he has consistently done all sorts of things like this. He attacked Aled Jones, friend of ours, in the past for a watch. 22 months. Doesn't seem like a lot, does it?
It's not a lot. It's absolutely ridiculous. This man, I think he's 18. When he went before the courts, there were 19 pages, 19 legal pages listing the level of crime. He came out of jail 2 years ago, having done 14 months of a 23-month stretch. As Genevieve rightly says, she will have anxieties now, and I had the pleasure and privilege of speaking with Genevieve on my show yesterday. This young woman now will obviously be anxious. He will almost certainly, as Genevieve says, be out in 10 or 11 months. The term should be, this is likely to be a career criminal. He should be in jail much longer. I would suggest a present term of about 5 to 10 years. There could have been a serious injury. She's a very, very brave young woman. But I would say, as she revealed to me, it probably helped that she grew up with 3 brothers who played rugby. So he probably didn't...
I mean, I think I'd react the same way again, because it got him caught. And if I hadn't reacted like that, he would have been on the street for longer. And someone that's comfortable carrying a machete and other weapons, potentially, you know, with the threat of stabbing me, if someone has done it so many times, that's someone that's likely going to do it again. So at least he's off the streets.
Well, look, fingers crossed that something can happen. There is some sort of rehabilitation that can potentially happen while he is in prison for the time that he is there. But Genevieve, thank you for coming back in and for your bravery, as Nick was saying, and your courage for speaking up as well. It's really great to have you back.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.